Hello, welcome through our lovely rail car.
We just wanted to come say a quick hello and tell you a little bit about our train here. So I'll be your train manager for our journey into Kamloops today and then again tomorrow into Vancouver. You are the first live guest car on board, so you get to see the beautiful tail end of our train as we wind our way through the canyons. So we are 17 cars long today. We have 3 locomotives to help with the maximum gradient that we travel along. We are traveling on Canadian Pacific Railway throughout our journey today, and tomorrow we'll be traveling along Canadian National Rail, as well as a bit of Canadian Pacific right before we get into the city of Vancouver. But I did just want to let everyone know that, well, we rent space here from Canada's 2 largest rail providers. And they do a great job of moving us around their rail equipment. So there's a center in either Calgary or Edmonton, depending on which rail line we are traveling on. And they keep an eye out, much like air traffic control with airplanes and airports, we have rail traffic control. So rail traffic controllers keep an eye on our movement, and they do a great job of moving us around some of these large freight trains, as we've seen so far this morning. So I mentioned that we're 17 cars long. Some of these freight trains are upwards of about 200 to 225 cars long, or close to 3 miles in length.
Saying, always remember to look behind what we're leaving as well, because the views behind are often equally or sometimes even more spectacular. So we have all these windows to take advantage.
I don't know.
So once again, if you look at your menu, I will go through it with you. So for lunch, we're gonna start as an appetizer with the golden beet salad and then warm dinner bun and butter. And after that, we have 2 options for our main course. First one is BC wild salmon, and the second option is going to be Alberta beef short ribs, braised in red wine with potato parsley puree and seasonal vegetables. And for dessert, we're gonna have a beautiful lemon tart with blueberry compote.
And would you like something to drink right now, like a juice? I can give you, I'll leave a menu with you. Of the wine? A red wine? Okay.
Just above 5,000 feet. And then once we do cross over that continental divide, it's all downhill from here, including the jokes.
I don't know.
Long, 5 miles. So yeah, we're gonna be here for a little while.
Untouchable fact why the Connaught Tunnel is named the Connaught Tunnel? Because you cannot see a thing.
very difficult to build that railway. But what happened as well is that in the last few years, they were sort of running out of money. They were starting to short the workers as well and not paying the workers. And so the brunt was coming up, and it was very well a possibility that the railway wouldn't see through. So two cousins, Scottish men, one was the director of the Bank of Montreal, and another one was the director of the Canadian Pacific Railway Syndicate, rallied together and they said, okay, let's go back to England, let's try to secure the last fundings for this because this might just crumble under our feet. So that was Donald Smith and George Stephen. And so George Stephen went over in England and secured money. So both of them were from Scotland, from Banffshire. That's why Banff is called Banff. And they were from the Grand Clan. And the Grand Clan, the rally cry was "Stand Fast for Galaki." So when George Stephen secured the funding, he sent a telegram to his cousin Donald Smith, and he just said, "Stand fast for Galaki." And his cousin understood, okay, we've got the funding, let's get this going. And then they finished it under the time of schedule, so they finished it in time and under budget. So that was quite the feat, basically. And so this is why this place is called Galaki, after the two cousins' rally cry from the Grand Clan. Galaki, and that is where the last spike of the Canadian Pacific Railway was driven on November 7, 1885. There is a stone cairn made of all the stones of the different provinces and territory of Canada, and with a little poem on top of it. So funnily enough, at the last spike that was driven by a gentleman named Donald Smith actually bent, and so they had to put another one. So it was a little bit of a, so we like to say that the last spike was driven in at 9:02 because the one at 9 o'clock didn't work because it backed down. This area here sees some of the most snowfall in Canada, an average of about 60 feet of snow every winter. And so this is very prone to avalanches in the sense that once an avalanche goes through, it does take all the trees away. So avalanche will always take the path of least resistance. So it will always pretty much happen at the same place. We even have in place here the Army of Canada doing the artillery to bombard the mountains, so to dynamite the mountain to provoke the avalanches before they happen naturally. So oftentimes in the winter months, this highway is closed here. So the town of Revelstoke we're going to go through in a couple of hours is often cut off from the rest of the world, basically because those highways are closed. So it's going to be very spectacular around us.
That is the osprey nest.
Hell's Gate. There's not like that much to see, but this is a point that was treacherous for Simon Fraser, really hard for those poor salmon trying to go and replenish the salmon stuck upriver. And so now we're getting into the canyon more proper. So 200,000 gallons a minute, 750,000 liters a minute. That is twice the debit of Niagara Falls. So the water right now is at its lowest, right? We're in the month of May. The glaciers haven't started to melt. So right now you can see the water level really low. However, on high water years, it can go up to almost that orange bridge that you see right there that goes across. See the confluence, the two tone of water there? You're going to see the two different tones because the Thompson River to you might look a little muddy right now, but you're going to see that the Fraser River is definitely muddier looking because in its whole course, it doesn't have any lakes or large body of water to deposit the silty sediment. And it is British Columbia's longest river.
Crossing. This is the one part of our journey in which the Canadian National and the Canadian Pacific Railways cross paths. So off to right-hand side now, we're seeing that Canadian Pacific Bridge. And this bridge was originally built in England, and then they took it and they deconstructed it in parts, shipped all of those parts up by boat, and then they built in that bridge here in about the year 1880.
You're going to see some mile marker on the side of the train, and actually that is a good time to... There's a bear on the right. Bear right there. That was right there. Did you see that? Some of you? Sorry, man. I just heard it. Yeah. Yeah, then always like you can't get the photos of those, but this is just for your eyes, right?
All right, ladies and gentlemen. Seeing bears is thirsty work, isn't it? So, good news. The bar is now open. Tanya's just making her way through with that beverage menu if you do want to get that a little cruise through.